Hello my lovely Padawans, and to all of you fighters. I don't know what the players of the UFS are called, but hello and welcome to my April 2018 Felicia deck profile. I am using this Felicia. She is quite nice, and the gameplay, the playstyle of this deck is very simple. You amass a large amount of momentum, and then you kill your enemy with that momentum. So yeah, the Felicia, I'm gonna leave her here, and we're gonna start with the foundations. For my 0 difficulty foundations, I'm using 4 copies of Agile. She's in here because she's a foundation, but you're pretty much looking at 4 non-attack momentums, which is really nice. Now for difficulty 1, I run 1 copy of Designed for Combat, 2 copies of Treacherous Plans. You can pretty much look them up, what they do, but yeah, 1 copy of Curiosity, 4 copies of Bridging the Races. Now Bridging the Races is nice because it gives your kick, punch and slam attack some speed and and damage. It also readies itself when something enters or leaves your staging area, so you can pretty much float this guy. And then 4 copies of Traveling Performer, which is nice because this is a good support foundation for your offensive and defensive plays. Now for the difficulty 2 foundations, 1 Fulfilled in Battle, 2 Reactive Style, 1 Sweet Nothings, 3 of these, in my opinion, very amazing card, Granted a Body. She's nice because she can get herself in the enhanced step. You can get her on the top of your deck, and she's a check for 6. So yeah. Then 4 copies of Buffalo Strength. Now this card is great because if you manage to double your attack, double the damage, the printed damage of your attack, you can draw a card, which is, I mean, that's not the main thing you use this for. The main thing is the second enhance and destroy effect, which is extremely useful against decks that try to manipulate your checks, and pretty much this guy saves you from any check manipulation, and you can freely do your checks and do your plays, and your opponent will be a sad little person. Then 3 copies of Peaceful Coexistence, which is also a very good defensive card. Your opponent is really angry when you use this against them. Then 3 copies of Strength of Tail, which is also one of your the Agile wasn't the momentum. This is the actual foundation that is a momentum, and after your ready step you can pretty much send this beautiful lady to your momentum, which is nice. I mean, why not? It has Felicia in the art. Then 3 copies of the Gymnastic Techniques, which is also a neat deck, and 2 copies of the Ever Hopeful, and of course its errated version makes it, you know, banished instantly, because it is a very powerful, unique foundation, and it is the and these are the only 2 difficulty 3 foundations that I run. Then before the attack I run an extra copy of Felicia in the deck. Why? Because she is a mid block for 0, and she's a check for 6, which is nice. And I also have one Felicity House asset, which is a very nice, unique asset. It lets you block with attacks in your momentum, which is really, really, really cool. Now, for the attacks, for my difficulty 2 attacks, first I run 3 copies of Toy Punch. It's a punch which lets you add a foundation to your hand to make this guy, this attack, do more damage and gain speed. And of course, since a card will be leaving your staging area, this will work with certain foundations, which is nice. Then 4 copies of Soul Flash. Now, Soul Flash is amazing in this deck because 99% of the attacks, you know, excluding one, have a printed damage of 3 or less. And if you chain up a bunch of attacks and then you just do this and it goes through, you're gonna deal a lot of bonus damage for each of those printed 3 or less attacks, which is amazing as far as low cost attacks go. Now for the difficulty 3 attacks, starting off with 4 copies of this amazing card, which is called Innocent Hug. So this is a throw attack, and its enhance says that if it is not blocked, your check to play an attack that is a printed damage 3 or less, you know, after this attack, it gets a check +3, which is amazingly good, since, as I said, excluding one of my attacks, everything else is a printed damage of 3 or less. And 4 copies of the Rolling Scratch. Now this is nice because it's a slam attack, of course that works with Felicia, and of course her effects state that for one of her enhances pretty much sends any of your attacks, regardless if they were blocked or not, at the end of the turn they go into your momentum, and if you have 2 or more momentum, your kick, punch or slam attack gets +3 speed, and if they deal damage, your next check this turn gets +2, which is crazy. Right, 4 copies of Rolling Scratch. It's a slam and stun 1 attack, which is great. And if the check to and if her check was modified, she gets +1 speed, +1 damage, which is again very good. And now for the strongest attacks in my deck, 1 copy of Crash Slam. So this is a slam attack, which is good, works with Felicia. It's a stun 1 attack, which is good, and if you happen to see that your opponent doesn't or has run out or doesn't have any mid blocks, you can commit 1 foundation and make this card only be blockable by mid blocks, which is great. Then we get to the one card that is not a printed damage of 3 or less. This is 1 copy of Cat Spike. It's a kick attack, and if it deals damage, the next time you play a foundation this turn, you can instantly add it to your staging area. It's not bad, but it's not a printed 3 damage, so it doesn't work with all of your combos. Then 1 copy of Shining Blade. Now this is a great attack. This is a stun 2 weapon attack, which can gain a bonus damage for if you name a foundation on your staging area, and it can gain 1 damage for each copy of that foundation. So in theory it can go up to 7, which is wow. And you can use that other foundation, which works with attacks that have doubled their damage, and you can do crazy stuff. Oh, and I didn't mention you stun too. Yeah. And the ultimate attack of my deck that I'm using, this is not the most powerful ultimate that Felicia can use, but this is quite powerful indeed. 1 copy of Splendor Love. So this is a difficulty 4, speed 5 up attack, upward, high attack for 3 damage, and it's a powerful 2, meaning You pretty much, powerful 2 means that you can discard attacks in your card pool that dealt 3 or less damage in addition to momentum, and you can also cost you can also commit foundations and pretty much discard as much momentum as you want, because that's what the powerful does. And then for every momentum that you discard, this attack gains damage. And the highest that I've gotten this attack was like 13 or maybe 15, which is very, very good. And it's a high attack, so not many people run high blocks or good ones. So yeah, I do hope you enjoyed this Felicia deck profile, my lovely Padawans. I will be seeing you in the next video, and may the Force be with you always.